Alright guys and girls, welcome back. Thursday 15th of July today. Is it 15th? Yeah, so Thursday 15th of July 2021 at the time of the video. Just walking around at the moment, about to go down to the supermarket. Thought I'd do my daily exercise at least for a little bit, for a few minutes, and do some walking. Anyway, so people be wondering, because I do a lot of stuff at the moment on Unity, and I do a lot of baking, and you're probably wondering, what the hell's all baking? Your baking will probably be where you're in the kitchen, rustling up some food. But in terminology, for computer tech terminology, baking is like, how can I put it? Creating a lighting setting, but without realistic lighting. So you take away you take the indirect light out. You set it to baking, and then you render those lights, because in Altspace, which I've been doing a lot of VR work in there at the moment, been intensifyingly working a lot on Global Illumination, and you can't have basically Global Illumination without baking a source of light. So sometimes I'll use direct light, or they call it indirect light, or directional light. Yeah, directional light. So what is basically baking, and why is it so important to render it and have it global illumination? What is global illumination? Basically, it is how the source of light is interacting with the rest of the environment. So basically, you'll see, alright, so I don't know if you guys and girls will be able to see. You see the shadows here. Now, they have got a global illumination on the floor here. So the global illumination of the light, so basically there's no light here, it's just because the trees is actually in the way, or actually you can see the sun coming through, and it's basically casting a shadow off the floor. Now, global illumination, it illuminates that environment. It actually the environment globally illuminates the area in the direction of the light. So in directional light, in directional lighting. So I've been working with a lot of lightning works and stuff on Unity. I've only just started doing it, but when you render the lighting, you have to go up on top. There's like a page. You've got your settings. You go all the way along. At the top, there's, I think, to the right hand side, you go straight down. I think it's on the same page as, I'm just trying to think, because there's actually certain settings you've got to put it on just to make the rendering render properly as well. So I might do a breakdown of my settings soon to make it easier, so all your cuticles on your computer actually takes advantage of doing that. But global illumination, basically, it processes the directional light of the environment. So at the moment I'm working on a map, and I have an object, and the object has a light at the back of the object. It has a light source at the front of the actual on the side, and with that you're casting a shadow. which is coming from the indirectional light, which is actually creating that global, it illuminates the area, depending on how strong the light source is. But you can put the intensity to be at really high. You can have it really small. It's really like your preference, really. But the rendering, I actually rendered this morning, or just a minute ago. I've just finished rendering an object before I went out. About 10 items in there. One light source has got, I think, 6 different lights on it. Point lights. I think they're called point lights. The point light will point downwards and will actually illuminate the area of the floor. So you'll get that casting of the light. Now, once you render it, you go into the rendering system settings and you go render. Basically, the global illumination in that area will start rendering the global illumination lights, or the environment, the model of it. So basically, once that's all baked in, all the lights are baked in, you can't unbake it. Well, in a way you can, but the shadows are still going to be there. So it would be better off, I'd say, to maybe just have a mess around with it, see where you want the lights and the shadows. You can check out the shadows beforehand before you bake it in. So you can have the one light source. So if I've got a statue in front and I want the light to go in front, but I want it on the side, half of that objects will be literally have a cast of a shadow. It'll be cast in a global illumination or illumination shadow like this. The floor just here of the light will cast out and it come back. But if it's windy, that will be actually rendering real time. But because you want it as static, now when you do rendering and you render an item, make sure it's all on static. Every item that you want to render is in static, because all the lights basically all like most objects are static anyway, except for like items like candles or light sources, but because that's in real time, I don't think they show up on Altspace, because it's real time, so you can't really do real time rendering, which I think in a way would be a lot less taxing, because if it's rendering at the same time, you won't have so many problems that you do on Altspace as it does at the moment. But I don't know, it's one of those things. But guys and girls, I will do a talk through on another video, try and sort of do it when I get back, another video on it. But if this kind of helps you with the rendering, what global illumination is, what baking is, let us know in the comments below. See if we can get this up to about 2,000 views on this video, because I've got a lot more tutorial videos, talk throughs. But because I'm using Altspace at the moment, and I'm using what you call VR mobile, I have to render those lights so they actually don't have too much of a high rendering on it. It has to be, basically I have to render 2 or 3 different platforms. So if I'm doing it for the Mac, that would be Mac usable. If I want to do it for PC, I have to render for the PC, so you'll get better textures. Also, I'm rendering for mobile as well, so that way everybody who's on all those platforms can come in and they can see it. If you're on PC, textures are going to be a lot better. The actual global illumination is going to be a lot better. The shadows are going to be a lot better. Everything's going to be a lot better. But I'm on the Oculus Quest 2, and I actually recommend people to try it out. It's an amazing headset. It's around 400 quid. and its price is on point to the headset. Now, Altspace, you're probably wondering, well, what's he talking about Altspace, or what is Altspace? Well, it's a social media app where you can socialise with each other. You can go into the VR headset. Don't have to go into a VR headset. There is a 2D desktop app. I've got that on my iMac at the moment, 2020, with 40 gigs of RAM. Does quite well, actually. It runs quite well. But Altspace at the moment is updating all their versions of the Unity versions. So at the moment I'm using version 2020.3.9 F1, I think it is, or F2, I think that is. F1, I think it is. But it is absolutely amazing. Obviously it's in beta at the moment, or they're doing testing. But a lot of the worlds I'm going to be building, I've deleted all my worlds. I've done 28 worlds altogether, and I just deleted them all. I kind of felt that if I'm going to do something worthy, I need to work on one map, or one individual map, finish that one off first, and then start doing something else, because I find a lot of flaws when you're doing too many things at once, or doing too many maps at once. It can be overwhelming, and also it can be time consuming. So if I'm just working on one thing, one item, or one map, rather than 20, 30, 40 different maps, and then having some glitches or some shit going into it, then you get some problems out of it. It's not going to look as great. So if you take your time doing a lot of Unity works, then it's basically, hopefully it will pay off at some point. But Unity to me now is like a lifesaver to me, because I just sit down on my computer and just do some work on it. And you don't need to be an expert on it. You don't need to be experienced in it. You just need to sit down, do some work on it, have fun. That's what I'm doing. I'm having fun. You can download like props, items for it. You can place the props and items down. Also, what really annoys me is that you can't have scripts on Altspace that you can with VR chat. I think on VR chat you can, or to some extent there is some way around it. But I just wanted really Altspace to have a way that I can do scripts on there, so I can add buttons on it instead of our what's it called, what they call them, is it REMs? No, not REMs, MREs. So basically MREs are basically coding where you can attach items, but you have to be on the computer at all times to do it from a server to implement it, and there's a lot of coding involved. That's the downside to it. There's a lot more work to it as well, and I'm not a coder or anything. Not that I couldn't like make codes for it if I took my time and just went through doing coding and putting codes down, but that would take a hell of a lot of learning to do on that. There's quite a lot of a big steep learning curve to it. But myself, I just like the simplicity of Unity, where you can just put down things, you can animate objects to move, moving objects, and it looks amazing, absolutely amazing, incredible. But anyway, guys and girls, cheers for watching, stay safe. It's been a long episode for this one today, just me, I'm almost at Sainsbury's at the moment, but I'll see you on the next episode, guys and girls, and see you soon.